Richard, when you first reached out to me and said, hey, I think I've got something of value to share to your audience, you talked about micro facial expression reading. I'm actually going to say that again. Phonetic micro expression reading for mastering verbal tell signs. Now, that piqued my interest because I have not learned anything before about phonetic micro expression reading. Can you share what that even is?
Absolutely, I would love to, and I think your audience will find it fascinating. You mentioned earlier about facial expressions, and there's nothing wrong with reading someone's body language. In fact, most people are used to reading people's expressions. Now, I always believe in congruence, where the audio is supposed to match the visual. Now, in my industry, owning a call center, the majority, if not all, of the calls are sight unseen. So phonetics to me, Christina, is probably the purest form of communication. The sound of speech, not the semantics or even the tone.
Okay.
And so with the phonetic microexpression reading, what I would like to show your audience is a very simple XY chart.
Okay.
The tone of voice should always be positive and empathetic. So you show confidence and you show empathy. Now there's a technique called mirror imaging, and people use this in sales, in public speaking, interpersonal communication, and conflict management. I use it for manipulation because if you have a consistent variable, you can see inconsistencies. So you and I can gauge somebody on how fast and how loud they speak. I believe 30 seconds to 2 minutes are probably the best sort of segments to gauge somebody. And if you happen to see a spike or a dip, it's usually when you ask a tie-down or clarification question to somebody. And so these are usually for first-time phone calls or when you know somebody for a long period of time. And even face-to-face, if you happen to close your eyes and take out the distraction, you might be able to pinpoint this. Now, I believe that a tone rate and a pitch could be manipulated. So that's why the answering speed, this subconscious that people have, they're not consistent. And that's pretty much the insurance policy to see if they're being consistent. Now, I don't want to put somebody on the spot or let them know they're being facetious and not being honest with me. So maybe I might ask them to re-explain it using their other senses or another way to keep it simple for me just to see that they're consistent. And so while you're on the phone, and I was doing it for years, it can seem monotonous and boring. And so I was trying to see if I could bite an apple while juggling, not acting a fool and wasting my time and not doing good work. But there's got to be some codes that we can crack and other levels that you and I can master so we could become a little more lucid on the phone and not just complacent, because most people do not show active listening. They're halfway there. And then a lot of times there's crosstalk or miscommunication. So a lot of the times we can almost control the conversation. It's just by being very engaged in it. And so that could really assist your audience when focusing in concentration on someone's phonetic speech.